Calling all adventurers! Welcome to the Untitled Themed Entertainment Design Show, where your sensational hosts, Andy Garfield and Patrick Kling, provide you with endless hours of fun and knowledge on all things related to themed entertainment. Tonight, some know her as an artiste, some know her as director, but now she's here to talk about the world of animation and theme park design in her debut broadcast. Welcome, Morgan Kiesling! So sit back in your chair, fasten your seatbelt, and tug on the yellow safety strap before we discuss theme park design, animation, and you!
Welcome, everybody, to the show. Wow, that was an incredible end title block. We've definitely done an upgrade here.
I've never heard anybody say my name with such excitement.
Yeah, it took like 50 takes. Your name is just, it's so sad.
It's fun. Usually I'm doing a voice like that, but it's fun. That was fun. Hi, Morgan. Thank you for coming.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you? It's good to be here. I wanted
it's great to see you. So
for that voiceover, Brock Powell, he is fantastic, and he was so excited by the title card that he wanted to do some voiceover. So anyway, credit to him. I was excited by the title card.
You're all hired, by the way. You're all hired. We'll take all the help we can get. That was absolutely fantastic. So welcome to the show. So like everyone's so excited by that title card. Look at this. We got like a real show here, folks. We're not just winging it every day and day before we do it. We plan.
People want some
in advance. And to know today is no different. So we have a great guest. Morgan's on. We're gonna go ahead and jump into a little bit of the news, and then we'll talk about you. And you have a whole program and outline and deck we're really excited to get into. So we want you to jump in. Can you give everyone like a 20-second intro of who you are, just so they know who you are and why they should listen to you and why you're important? Because you are.
Wow. Okay, 20 seconds on the clock. Hi, everybody. My name is Morgan Kiesling. I am an art director and a concept designer working in the themed entertainment world. So I've designed everything from theme park attractions and redos of water rides and animatronics and concepts for theme parks and all sorts of fun shows and interactive experiences. And I volunteer a lot of my time to help upcoming people in the industry because I care so much about this future generation. And I think that was more than 20 seconds. So I'm going to give it back to you.
Who is that behind you?
Who is that behind me? This is Sinbad, named after the voyage of Sinbad and Chandu. Adventures of Sinbad and Chandu. Yeah, he's a good kid.
Nice, excellent. Well, great. We're going to jump into the news. We have to get a catchy intro for the news segment now, but
Around the news.
Some bad news. I mean, good. Some good news. It's news. It's just
we really don't. There's no way to really sugarcoat it.
It's been a rough week for a lot of our friends.
Rough, terrible week. Starting off with my hometown of Orlando, COVID-19, Florida cases have exploded. Pretty devastating news, honestly. I've been tracking it every day. I was feeling kind of optimistic. We were under 100 cases in Orlando a day, Orange County, which is about 1.1 million. We're now at around 900 plus. There was a dip yesterday because it was Sunday, but we're going to see.
In Orlando?
That's Orange County, Florida, which encompasses Orlando.
Wow.
So it's really all bad. I personally don't think Disney World should open. They're proceeding. They just did their annual pass holder preview day, released all that. I booked. I'm part of the problem. No, I booked reservations for next month just in case cases go down. But right now, my entire household is in complete lockdown. We're back to only the three of us. Delivery of groceries or pickup from the groceries, and there's no way to slice it. It's just we have an explosion in Florida, and it's definitely due to reopening. You can look at the trends. It's not because of the protests, because in cities where there were no protests, there's still spikes, there's still rises and all that. So I'm not sure.
You got bars and restaurants and parties at houses and churches and stuff.
Yeah.
At least here in Los Angeles, that's why we have them. Patrick, we lost Patrick.
Did you?
Oh no, he's back.
Nice.
Nope.
You're choppy. We're getting some turbulence.
He's buffering.
I thought you were. What do you think about it?
I can't see either of you. What happened? What are you saying?
Well, I did that.
Oh my goodness. Are you asking me how
Would you like to provide a comment?
COVID? Oh Lord. It's awful, and I wish people were responsible, and I'm going to just tell everyone, wear your damn masks, because, dear Lord, I mean, I went to the grocery store yesterday to buy hand sanitizer for about 30 seconds. I ran in and ran back out. And there were people walking around just not covered. And there's a French expression that translates to it's a stupid bird that fouls its own nest. And I feel like that's what we're doing to ourselves. And I just wish that people were a little more responsible. And I'm glad that Disneyland is delayed. And I'm really worried about Disney World. I'm sorry, I went right into your next subject. That was a segue.
It's a segue. It's called a segue.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this. I'm happy that it happened. I mean, when we say we're happy, I want to just be very clear. The government completely failed us, completely. Every European countries are going down. They're through the first wave. So I'm actually trying to be careful of when people say, F COVID-19, blame COVID-19. We're at a point where really it's the government that failed us. And I'm taking this very serious because a lot of my friends are being laid off, and the industry is going to face a lot of tough times because the government did not respond appropriately. And I want to be very clear about that. And now it's almost like an untenable situation, and it's pretty devastating. I'm happy that Disneyland is delayed. I obviously have, because I want this virus to stop spreading. I don't want it to get worse. I don't want, the occupancy in the hotel beds to get out of control. So we're just in a really bad situation right now. Andy, what do you think about Disneyland closing?
Well, my over-under for Disneyland opening was always August 1st. And I think we're going to be well beyond that. I've heard rumblings of just not even opening this year at all.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Libby, he had a bold claim, maybe episode 2 or 3 or whatever it was. He said, hey, 2021. And I'm kind of now in his camp.
Yeah,
Did Broadway just announced that they're officially, Broadway in New York is closed for the rest of the year?
Until January 3rd.
Yeah. That too.
So it makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's shocking and it's unfortunate. I wish that I wish that things were different. I've been chatting with my friends, the Depews. Hi, Jason and Prudence. I hope you're watching. I just feel like, because we share news articles back and forth all day on the messenger and stuff, and it's just like, I don't think we're gonna ever get this right. I don't think the American public is equipped emotionally and mentally to deal with this and to be personally responsible. It's just, I think it's just going to ravage the country until we have herd immunity, and it's going to be really bad, and it's going to go into next year, and that sucks because it's going to devastate our economy. It's going to devastate our business in particular. I mean, those of us that are lucky enough to have projects in the Middle East and in Asia and things like that, we might survive, but domestic stuff, yeah, I mean, we won't see capital expenditures in U.S. parks for years.
And what we're seeing is like there was initial wave of layoffs that hit frontline operation staff. Like that was and then the professional class was kind of holding on and like, okay, we're still okay. And then now that we're about 4 months in, 3-4 months in, all these small businesses could not hold on any longer. Universal could not hang on any longer. And it's an interesting thing because Disney furloughed their staff, made a very bold move and was criticized for it. And maybe now they're going to be able to hold on to more people than they were originally because they did that. I just want to send a deep, my heart goes out to everybody that's been affected by this. By now, everyone knows somebody that's been affected by this. People who've been on this show have been affected by this. And it's pretty devastating and very heartbreaking that this is just the normal that we're in right now. And I don't know how I honestly just want, if somebody could myself and then awake in 2021, I would pay money to do that.
We lost you for a second, but I got the gist of it.
Okay. Yeah, cryogenically free. My internet only goes out when I'm doing this live stream, if you haven't figured that out. But yeah, I would pay to freeze myself and then come back out the other side like Austin Powers, basically.
Yeah.
And then Amundsen Theater announced their next season won't start until April 2021.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's
interesting. I have bought tickets to Hamilton in LA, I think 4 or 5 times now. I keep buying it for several months later with the hope, because we had tickets to opening night and then it got closed that night. Everything was shut. And then I've just been buying them every couple of months moving. I think we're on time number 4. At this point, I would rather it was closed for the safety of everything, but it's become a running joke because we tried for years to go see it.
Well, you can watch it on the TV on Friday.
What's that?
You can watch it on the TV on Friday.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Says the person who saw the original cast live. I don't want to hear it.
What can you do?
You said it. I mean,
fine, whatever.
Speaking of theater, we did have some, unfortunate news. Cirque du Soleil filed for bankruptcy.
3,500 people let go.
Yeah, it's just terrible. I mean, everyone can kind of understand what's going on. There's no. I'm presuming Feld Entertainment's probably going to be set, although they're a part.
But I think what Patrick was saying is that all the Vegas, most of the Vegas shows, the staff is employed by MGM, not Cirque. So I think they're safe now until they figure out how to do shows again.
Are those shows back on in Vegas? Like shows too? Oh, I see.
There are 2 shows. There are 2 live shows running in Vegas right now, and they're both lounge shows.
Okay. 1 guest allowed. Very private experience.
It's the Mayfair Supper Club and Rose Rabbit Lie right now. So that's it.
So, it's funny, not funny at all. This is all devastating. But me and Andy kind of started the show like 3 months ago, kind of on a whim, like, we'll do this for a few weeks. And now it's clear we'll be doing this for a while.
6 years later.
3 years later.
Yeah, 3 years later.
But we have a lot of
I was hoping we were going to get to change the title of the show like in a couple of months, from Untitled Themed Entertainment Lockdown Show to just Untitled Themed Entertainment Show. Yeah.
Well, now that we have a brand new theme song and intro, we're gonna have to really tighten up the hatches here.
Yeah,
I mean, talk to your graphic design department. I mean, come on.
Can you guys do it every week?
What?
Can you guys do that for us every week?
Oh God. For the right amount of dollars, I'm sure he'll do whatever it is you want.
I'm kidding. Anyway, let's get on with the show.
All right. So, Morgan, why don't you tell us a little about yourself, a little more, and because it all kind of folds into your story and why you're which is really cool. And then let me know when you want me to share your screens because I'll put it up.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, I went to college for animation because I've always been a really big fan of not only just art history, but the history of the entertainment industry and all of that. And I learned that went to college. Thank you. I did do that. It took me 8 years to graduate because I worked through the entire time. So it was an ordeal. I love that is what my title is. I lost my train of thought now because I'm never gonna. That's my peak. Anyway, went to school for animation and understood that Disneyland was built by animators, and I've always had entertainment within my family. My folks, okay, all right, it was an ordeal. That's very accurate, actually. Oh my goodness, you guys are jerks, but I love you. It's okay.
I have nothing to do with this. It's all Patrick. I'm okay.
So I'm going to blame Patrick fully, and Andy, you're fine in my book. So I went to college. Lord, went for animation and wanted to do theme park design. I didn't know of any programs at the time. I kind of flunked in high school. I didn't have the option to go to any sort of fancy university. So I got into Long Beach for animation and worked my butt off, and they let me do my own little program. And oh, come on. I was on a roll. Okay, I'm gonna do this. So I finally graduated, but I was working during that time. And I just, you know, I'm really, really passionate about the history of the industry. I love knowing why we do the things we do and why the procedures are the way they are. And especially living in Los Angeles, being around entertainment and the idea of all of that, just sort of, it's all related. And you know, the history of animation itself is fairly recent, but then you look at the history of the like modern theme park as we know it, because it sort of started as gardens. It's even more recent. And so there's a lot of information out there, and it's absolutely it blows my mind. And I've given talks before. I've been invited to come back from where I graduated because I was the first student who was like, I want to work in theme parks with my animation degree. And Tony Baxter graduated from my university as well, but within the theater department. And I've been invited to come and speak about the parallels between animation and the theme park industry, because while they started out more or less one and the same, if you know Disneyland's history, now they're very much different industries with different organizations and different people. And it doesn't make much sense to me, because as an artist, the study is exactly the same. The principles are exactly the same. And so I love having this conversation with people and talking about it, and bringing up some of the artists that inspire me. So I don't know, Patrick, do you want to share, and I can just kind of go over. I don't want to talk at people. It's really nerdy. I don't know. You guys comment and stuff as I'm doing this. Is that okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool.
My connection's very bad for some reason, but hopefully everyone's hearing what you're saying. I'm getting a lot of blotchiness.
Oh, I'll just repeat all of it over again.
No, we got you.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I studied animation when I was growing up too, like in middle school and high school, and thought that was the road to theme parks as well. And then it kind of was like it veered left and right, and then I ended up doing music and getting in that way. And I was literally, like you said, you were the first person to study animation and get into theme parks through for your Long Beach. I was the first person to go to Buddy Baker at the School of Music at USC and be like, I want to do music for theme parks, and he's like, you're in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's
he was
awesome.
just like, I don't know why, but okay.
Yeah, well, that was actually, so the head of the animation department, he's a wonderful gentleman, and he took a chance on me, and I walked in on pretty much my first day, and I was like, you don't know me, I don't know you, I'm going to work my butt off, and you're going to let me start a track to try to design theme parks. And he was like, what? And I was like, I love this industry, and I want to work in it, and I will do whatever I need to do to make it happen, and I want to just learn the principles and all of that, and he let me do it, and it was really cool. I got to do a dark ride as my senior project. What kind of animation did I do in college? I did a visual development for animation, so I did a lot of hand-drawn animation, but I got in trouble because my hand-drawn animations were incredibly inappropriate. Pretty much everything was a stripper, so like I had a flour sack. There's that Disney flour sack challenge. You got to do that in animation school. Mine was I'm not going to say her name because this is all being recorded, but you can ask me later. Very silly. And I quickly realized I should not actually be animating. I should be doing some of the behind the scenes art stuff and some of the directing on school projects and things like that. And that's where I've ended up. Anyway.
So horny animation.
Thank you.
Yes. But like disgusting in not a cute way, in a very grotesque way. Yeah. I'll show you at some point. I just found it.
I'd love to see it.
Okay. So I did want to, we're going ahead of ourselves here. Okay. Well, that's frustrating that kind of pops up like that. Can you guys see that big old bar? No, you can. That's annoying. Can I move it?
It fades away when you move your cursor away.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, my cursor is very far away. There we go. Okay, cool. Well, I wanted to just introduce you guys to a couple of my heroes growing up, and their artwork that I just absolutely admired. And this is sort of that beginning. If you're interested in this subject, this is kind of a cool way to go. So one gentleman that I really admire is Ken Anderson, an incredible artist and animator. And there's a fun story that I heard, and I don't know how true it is, but that it was like 1934 or something, and he was driving past the Disney studio and just decided to ask for a job. And then they hired him, and he immediately got a job on the Silly Symphonies. Like, how does that even, I don't, amazing. But the drawing on the bottom right is actually the very first drawing of the Haunted Mansion. So, you know, he did production design and art direction and everything for so many films. And ultimately, when Disneyland was being planned, was asked to do research on Southern homes and architectural styles. And he ended up, oh, did you guys lose me? Why? Oh, Andy, you made a face. I thought the face was a I lost you face.
No, it's the I'm on and you aren't face.
Oh, okay. So then there was a reason.
He was gone, and now it's just
Andy was gone, and yeah, now I'm here. Okay.
There you
Well,
go.
Ken Anderson, absolutely fantastic. He worked on Snow White and the Seven Doors, but the Seven Doors, there were many doors to walk through, and there was but the thing I like the most is that he actually made a 3D model of the cottages when he was working on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and it was this like physical model that he made, and he did it because he wanted the animators to have something physical to be able to feel and look at and understand what that world was like. And thinking about the theme park industry, how we make models for everything, that's kind of a neat, like, oh, that's the beginning, sort of a thought for me. And while there were not a lot of females in the industry at the beginning, Mary Blair, man, what a powerhouse. She was an amazing, amazing person. I hope that everyone watching knows who Mary Blair is. And if you don't, look her up. My goodness, what a talent. And she went to Chouinard and worked for Ub Iwerks for a while, but she was known for her super iconic sense of color and style. And because of her, we have the look for Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella and Peter Pan. And then she actually left the company after Peter Pan and came back to help with the 1964 World's Fair, which is where we ended up with It's a Small World that got brought back to the park. But her whimsical style lent itself really, really well to these physical builds. And there's a lot of really cool footage of her working on concept art and things like that. And it's really fascinating because if you're just looking at the concept art without any context, it looks like she's just doing something for a film. You don't know that it's for something that's actually going to get built. It's the same. I mean, it's pretty incredible. And she's not an architect and she's not a technical person by any means, but she was able to create these beautiful paintings that set the stage for an entire attraction. The whole thing is in her style, as well as several other prominent artists, but I would say mostly her.
That's one of my favorite things about the themed entertainment development process is that you can have someone like her who's like a color stylist, and then you have, you know, a whole other team of people that interpret that into architecture.
Yeah. Oh, and it's crazy, especially looking at, like, you know, her speciality was geometric and kind of abstracted three-dimensional forms, which sounds like hell to have to go through as an architect when you're grounded in reality and you've got to make things work. But they did such a cool thing with It's a Small World by just basically giving her a coloring book of a building and saying, put patterns all over it. Perfect. And right. That's how a lot of her work, like in the contemporary, she's got her big mosaic. It's all, here's a spot, put your patterns.
And, you know, and coming from set design too, you know, it's easy to translate her drawings into layers of flats and you know, sort of two-dimensional layers of, you know, just, you know, cutouts and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah, she's just such an inspiration of mine. And there's another Imagineer, Harriet Burns. Sorry, go ahead. What's that?
No, I just said welcome back, Patrick.
My internet's like totally out. I had to move to a different location. I'm hoping everyone can hear. I couldn't hear much of anything, but
you're back.
You look better now. You look less like fuzzy. Anyhow,
I'm going to talk about one of my personal heroes.
Is Claude Coates a personal hero of yours?
You know, he is the Renaissance master of themed entertainment.
Yeah, and his backgrounds. I mean, my goodness, I've never heard of anyone who can paint so much story into a still image for animation. And one thing that I think he excelled in that a lot of background artists didn't have was the ability to understand, like we mentioned before, 3-dimensional space, but on a 2-dimensional plane. His was accurate. So the way that he painted scale and the way he painted shadow, it was pretty much like a direct translation to if you had built that set and you were looking at it, it would look like that. Mary Blair's backgrounds were very much an interpretation of reality. You would never see a background, or you'd never see a garden that actually looked like this, but we understand it's a garden. His was very literal, but still had so much heart and charm in it. And so I wanted to highlight him because if you recognize that illustration down below, that's one of the vignettes from Pirates of the Caribbean. And so that, you know, his style was perfect for that sort of an attraction. That's like a series of impressions that are essentially animation that's been broken down into a bunch of scenes that you're seeing dimensionally, but with little moments of drama and little moments of style. So I just absolutely admire him. And then another, I think the last person I have one more after him, sorry. One of our 9 old men, and I'm really excited that in recent years he's become as popular as he has because he is a master storyteller with character. And he's responsible for designing Bambi and Mr. Toad and Cinderella and Alice and Tinkerbell and Cruella de Vil and Maleficent, obviously there. And he was the gentleman who designed, I mean, most of the animatronics at the parks. I mean, Blair Gibson was the one who did the sculpting and stuff, but his character designs are so sweet and so much, there's just so much heart and emotion in the things that he would design. And Imagineer Chris Merritt, shout out to him. He wrote a really cool collection sitting over there. It's a Mark Davis collection. And it's
I've got it right over there too.
Oh yeah. It's amazing. There's the Western River Expedition stuff, like so cool. Just amazing. And the reason I love Mark Davis so much is because as a concept designer working in theme parks, I'm not currently working in animation. My characters for theme parks and my drawings and illustrations, I model after his work. And I'm not trying to do anything for animation. I'm working within the theme park, but it's become such a standard, understood, and accepted means of communication visually. So it is one and the same. It's so cool.
Yeah, like once a gag man, always a gag man.
Oh my goodness, yeah. That's a great point. Like every single one of his images
It's a gag.
is a gag, and it's brilliant, and you understand everything about it right as you're seeing it. And I mean, that's how a theme park works, right? You can't walk into a space and not know where you are. You have to, as soon as you walk in, you have to understand where you are, who you're seeing, why you're there, what time period you're in. So, man, I mean, you really can't beat Mark. And then I did want to highlight one last person, Ward Kimball, just because he's so darn cute. What an adorable gentleman. But and you can always recognize a Ward Kimball character because he had he'd always put these cheeks, like in Alice in Wonderland with Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They had these big old cheeks. And the reason why he, I think, is really significant within the theme park history is that part of the reason now why so many theme parks have like live steam or steam trains that go around the park is, I would definitely contend, partially because Ward Kimball was so obsessed with trains. And he and Mr. Disney were such good pals, and he helped Disney build his backyard setup. And so I think early 2000s, they put in a new train. It's a 244 steam train called the Kimball, and it goes around the park now. And so many parks, even non-Disney ones, put trains in, and it's such a wonderful, sweet way to experience history. And it was brought about by one of Disney's animators. So pretty cool. Lots of
even at Efteling, they have a little steam train.
Yeah. Oh God, it's so charming. It's so little. And actually, the model railroad inside of that, like,
oh my God,
center room.
I lost my damn mind. I wanted to just like move in. I'm like, diorama. I'll see about that. We walk in and I was like, I'm like weeping openly. It was just so incredible, and it's just like, we must have spent an hour in that in that room, and oh man, it was so great.
What was the thing again?
I have a scale model problem. So
yeah.
actually, no, this is at Efteling.
No, I'm saying, what was that face you made again? You were like,
That's beautiful. I made a similar face, actually. I'm not gonna lie. All my friends were walking around like, cool, train, and I was like, hold on, guys, you can go into the park. I'll be here for the rest of the day.
Right.
on my list of places to go to.
Well, I managed to do it. I shoehorned trains into this. This had nothing to do with trains, and I had to do it. I apologize. Do we have time to talk about transportation? Speaking of trains,
We have all the time in the world.
okay, cool. So, in animation, one of the most important things. Oh my goodness, beautiful. That's your graphic title. That's your title card now.
That's all we remember.
Yeah.
When I win the Lifetime Achievement Award for the Theas, that's what we're gonna show.
What'll be in there?
They'll just Photoshop you in a tuxedo and then just use that. You don't get a speech. It'll just be that.
Right.
Comes up. All right, transportation. In animation, this is something I learned about in college, and I feel that it applies just as much to the themed entertainment world, the theme park world. And I'm going to be boring and lecture-y for just a second here. So if you want to understand, okay, guys, I hardly went to college. I bounced around from community college to community college and rolled out with my degree with scuffs and bruises and whatever. It's fun.
Nothing wrong with community college.
Uphill both ways. There's nothing wrong. That's why I went to so many of them. They were just fantastic. So I think in theme parks, we can boil it down to three types of transportation. We have transportation to a recreation of an existing place, transportation to a fictional place, and transportation to an existing place, but in a time period in which we do not exist. And animation does this too. You look at any of the high-grossing modern animations, and they do exactly that. It always breaks down into one of these. And the reason why these movies are so successful is because you're part of it during that, however long, hour and a half, 2 hours. You're a part of that story, and theme parks set out to do the exact same thing. You have to become a part of the story and a part of the narration. And the attention to detail is obscene. One of my favorite examples of this, as it varies and shows all of these principles, is actually at Tokyo DisneySea. This is where you walk in. Like, you would never think you were in Japan when you're walking in here. So this is an example of that first one. It's an existing place in a current time. And then one of the most beautiful lands in the entire world, which is based off of, a book and the film and everything. They built this out of, it's unbelievable life. Yeah. I was so emotional, the soundscape of this place. But this is, it's complete fantasy. I mean, this isn't real, but you believe it. You're walking around in it, so it must be real. And animation is sort of the same way. You're watching it, you're believing the characters, they're having real, relatable moments, and this is the same thing. And then this is actually one of my favorites, and I think this is something that we don't appreciate as much as I think we should in theme parks, but we see examples of it a lot at, like, Disneyland, for example, and that's nostalgia for places that, and I've said most, anyone visiting would not or could not have experienced. So again, Tokyo DisneySea, and we've got this reproduction of New York, but it's not New York now. It's New York way long ago. And for some reason, we're nostalgic for us. I like history. I'm sorry. It's so interesting. Whatever. It's fine. I'm done defending myself.
You don't need to defend yourself. This was from a fan.
All right, fine. See, Schmutz is mad at you now. Schmutz is my dog. Sorry, that's not my name for myself. Schmutz is mad at you now. Anyway, nostalgia like this is really cool. And you see it at Disneyland, I mean, none of us were alive during this time, but when you walk through Main Street, you feel like you were there. You feel like you existed in this time and in this place, but with better plumbing and, a stronger immune system.
Yeah, it's a little washed, but yeah, it's a little plussed up.
Yeah, mildly. And then one of the last things I wanted to touch on is, like, the idea, and thank you, DaveLandWeb.com, for your photos. Every wonderful photo from the Disney parks always comes from the site, and I'm so grateful for Dave Land and his web. The idea of real world prop design, I mean, prop designers in animation are so important, and you've got your backgrounds and you've got your characters, but the props are the thing that makes the house look lived in. They make the situations really believable and make sense. And something that I find really fascinating within the theme park world is just how important props are to the design of lands that you walk through. I don't know if anyone watching or if you guys have walked through theme parks or amusement parks where the theme is not the big deal. And you're like, oh, there's like walls of nothing and it's just concrete. And you're like, they could have done something here. It looks empty. And you're walking through a themed space, but you don't feel it. And I really do think that it's the props. Just like in an animation, it's an empty room. Perfect. Beautiful. These props are so important. And, you know, the little details here. And I love Jungle Cruise because it's so busy and so crazy. But every little thing, everything on the walls and everything, absolutely everywhere you look, there is a detail. There is something that makes it feel like this is a place that people are currently living in or working from, and you just happen to walk by at that time. And I just, man, I know I say things blow my mind, but they really do blow my mind. Like, that's crazy. It's so beautiful.
I feel the same way about BGM in theme parks. And,
yeah.
And when I walk through, you know, areas, you know, where the music is either weird or, you know, a non sequitur or incongruous or not there at all. Back to, sorry. Sorry, it's the COVID.
Oh boy.
I tested negative. Yeah.
I was gonna say I saw the test.
Yeah.
You posted it.
Negative. I loved how the negative was in green. It was so weird.
Positive but green. Yeah, that's not fun.
It's like you're causing confusion. No, but like BGM, I feel the same way about BGM and soundscapes as you do about props. And I get what you're saying about props, and it's just like it's the details. It's the fractal details of the visual, you know, lines of sight and things like that. And you know, it's all part of the architecture of reassurance, and is, you know, that whole John Hench axiom of like, you know, people will feel good because they know that it's made for them.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and that the care the attention to detail and care of storytelling, you know, it just makes you feel good.
Right.
Like literally, like makes you feel good.
You told a story in bed as a child, but you're an adult and you're holding a Dole Whip and you're being patted on the head and being told, you know, it's okay. Everything at home sucks, but it's okay here. Welcome to our story. Yeah. Have you been to Tokyo DisneySea? Did you hear the soundscape next to the Nautilus?
Shamefully, I have not.
Oh my goodness. Best surprise of the trip, honestly. And I'm curious how you would react. Just because I did not expect to hear what it is that I heard walking into that area. I guess I was expecting like adventure music because it's a submarine and we're on it. No, it was terrifying actually. And it felt like a very scary place. And for that moment I walked in, I was like, oh, this is not the fantasy and the happiness and the cuteness that I always imagined this to be. This is a serious expedition with serious costs. Everyone needs to focus because if we don't get, it was like almost stressful. But you know you're okay.
Hey, John.
Oh, a silent transition. Yes, places of respite. I love that. I like a little quiet spot in a theme park. At Magic Kingdom, there's a really nice one in front of the Hall of Presidents. It's like that little area right there. Oh, I love it. Yeah. Nice and quiet.
Tokyo Disney is amazing.
I named my cat Sinbad and Chandu after the attraction there. I love that attraction so much. Okay, I think this is the last thing I just wanted to touch on. It's an interesting comparison, and I hope that if you walk away with anything today, you'll think about this in theme parks because, you know, I'm using Disneyland as the example because Disneyland itself, Mr. Disney, Mr. Walt Disney himself, plucked a bunch of animators animators out of his studio and designed a theme park with them. And of course, he then enlisted architects and integrators and absolutely everyone else necessary to make this happen. But it started with the ideas from these artists. And animation at the time was being made with something called the Multiplane Camera. And that allowed a level of depth that was not possible before that. So every single cell or painted image that was a part of the frame that they would shoot was set onto a different layer. And then they could do like a panning shot, or they could zoom into something and accurately represent how it would look if you were to take a camera through those areas, because each of the layers move at a different speed according to how close they are to the camera or to the viewer. So they were able to create these absolutely fantastic shots that had so much life and so much depth. And I was writing Pirates of the Caribbean somewhat recently, obviously not that recently because we've not been able to write it for a while, but at some point like last year. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, this is a multiplane camera effect. And I was like in tears, just, this is so amazing. And what I'm referring to is when you go down the first drop and you turn right, and I don't remember the exact layout in Orlando, so it's going to sound totally, I don't know if you go down the first drop, and there's no drop either, is there?
There's one drop.
You turn right, and there's a bunch of chicken wire rocks, and it's really neat and cool and whatever, but they all reveal scenes. It's so incredible. In the same way that a multiplane camera is used to give the depth of a scene within old school animation, where you've got objects that are covering objects and sort of blurred, but they're just framing the thing you actually should be looking at. Look at this scene here. You'd have to look back to see it, but it's exactly the same. And even the layout, and that's why I put this together here. The layout is even similar. You've got this foreground element that's really beautiful and really neat, but it's not the thing that is the focus of that scene. The focus of that scene is what's going on the little sandy beach over there. And it's very similar compositionally. It's so cool. And more specifically, leading to this moment here, this guy, there's these rocks that are in the way, and they kind of part as the ship moves forward, as the ship. See, I'm a pirate on a ship. As your ride vehicle floats forward, it sort of reveals this scene just like a multiplane camera would. And I'm curious if anyone watching has any experiences like that. Now that if you're thinking about the multiplane effect and you're thinking about the traditional rides, whether it's at Disney parks or not, the idea of the reveal and how that affects you and how that affects how you're feeling about the attraction. I would love to hear if you see any of those or know of any, because I think it's really interesting.
So Pirates of the Caribbean at Disneyland Resort is my all-time favorite attraction.
I did not know that.
It is absolutely hands down my favorite. I'll go on it, any chance I get. But you had me thinking about that, and I, studying animation myself, and the Illusion of Life and all the books and everything like that when I was a kid and everything. I was super over informed all through middle school and high school, and then your mentioning of the multiplane effect in Pirates made me think about especially coming out of the cave. And when you go under the train tracks and you come out into the battle scene.
Right.
That's also a multiplane effect, because you come, through the proscenium of the cave, into that scene, and then again, the other scene too is when you go under the bridge, with the pirate with his foot into the jail is another one of those, and then also the collapsing ceiling.
The beam,
the beams that are like like this.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I was just like, I had an aha moment, just like wherever I was when I read that. I'm like, oh my god. I go,
Hold on. For me, what came to mind was Indiana Jones Adventure, which is like one of my favorite ride. Like this scene where you go off and you see, you go down the steps and this big reveal, and really we're talking about depth and perception. And there's obviously a ton of layers going on here with the cars going down, there would be a ride vehicle blasting across the center. There's so much depth to this room.
Yeah,
and I just really love that
when
reveal.
you come around that corner and you see a Jeep going across the bridge, it's magical.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels like you shouldn't be there. It feels like you're witnessing something from the movie. And just the fact that the ride vehicles are sort of backed up gives you a better experience, which is really cool. I love that attraction. I think it's really great. And one of the things I was trying to convince, I was teaching in the animation department at Cal State Long Beach this year, so kind of coming full circle with that. And my students, they all want to be animators, and I did bring up at one point Indiana Jones, and was like, look, I mean, it's a movie, like you'd be working, it's the same thing. Basically the same thing.
So we have some comments here. So it reminds me of the Navi River Journey. And then the arches and bridges in POTC are among the best. Simple framing and reveal. Yeah. That stood out. Recently watching a POV ride through, the camera wasn't looking where the guest is supposed to. I'm not sure what that was referring to, but probably Pirates of the Caribbean. And then beautiful reveal, compression to expansion.
Yeah, coming out of the cave. Yeah. I mean, it's a centuries old architectural trope, to compress and then expand, from a tunnel to a courtyard or whatever, but like it's always effective. I mean, you can't lose with that.
Right. And you lose your sense of where you are, and then you're amazed, but the sense of where you are is just as important. The hallways in Pirates, like at the beginning, when you're about to go down the drop, you're still in this old village, the hallway, the little tunnel you go through. I mean, it's not just a plywood box that you're going through. You still have to feel like you're part of the village, even though they've carefully constructed these little moments where you've got tunnel vision, literally you can't see anything else, and then wha-bam, they slap you in the face with the most beautiful thing ever. And I mean, and one of the other things I wanted to bring up is they have to do this, with animation. The camera, you only see what the camera wants you to see, right? That's the whole point of laying out, and storyboarding things and whatever, is because you're only going to see a certain thing on the screen, and that's your only real estate. That's the only place you have to tell the guest what's going on. But with a theme park attraction, you have to consider literally every angle, even up. I mean, even straight up, because you're going to have some kid who's gonna,
I look up in every ride, because
right, and I do too.
Look
but
up.
Even Pirates, it's super high up and super dark, so you don't notice it as much. But then you look at like Small World, and it's a little terrifying.
Right.
It's like a soffit with like those asbestos tiles that are just sort of there, but some of them are open with like electrical equipment.
Yeah, the acoustic drop ceiling.
Well, you kind of buy into the world of Small World. Like this is world, from the World's Fair. It's more of a show. It's more immersive. It's more of a
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, the idea of just every angle is paramount with a theme park attraction. That you have to make every angle and every vantage point appealing, and that's, I mean, man, what a job. Because exactly. It's probably one of my favorite things about it, is that you really can't be lazy. And I know there's a lot of attractions and a lot of theme parks where they didn't quite have the budget, so if you look backwards, you have a horrible time. You see media resetting. You see, I mean, I'm not going to name names here, but there are moments where you're like, oh, I bet they didn't want that to be the thing that happened, but that got, someone said, we don't have to spend the money to block you from seeing this, so enjoy.
Media resetting in front of you is like, I'm like, just cut the scene shorter so I can get out of here. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I just can't. But I'm also crazy, so that's fine. But I just, nothing pulls me out more than that. So we have like 10 minutes or so left. I was wondering if you wanted to switch gears here, unless you need to go. So you mentioned earlier that you have a passion for the next generation of people, and so I'd love for you to talk about this this new project that is all a buzz. People
all a buzz.
What's that?
Goodness. Oh, I was just repeating after you. All a buzz. The TEC Workshop series. Patrick has been on my team for this. I had this idea that, not to drag everybody down, but, it's kind of been sucky, and a lot of younger folks who are just starting to get their careers, or at least trying to get their careers started, they had, oh my God, Patrick, this is real talk right now, okay? This is serious right now. They lost their internships and they lost their opportunities. And I've been hearing so many people who are coming to me and going, well, what the heck do I do now? There's a dog sassing another dog outside. Real talk. And they don't have resources, their companies have been like, okay, we're going to welcome you on as an intern. All right, never mind. Sorry. Bye. Good luck. Yeah. And these are people who were just getting started. They don't have their portfolios fully padded and can just show it to other companies and just get another job. So I wanted to provide a cool service for those individuals. And, I'm at the moment, it was like, I'm only one person. I can only provide so much. But then I got Patrick to help me with this, and people like Adam Bizark and Dave Cobb and Robert Coker and Jamie Bartkowitz and Natalie Nielsen, who came on last week. Just some incredible voices of the industry, and they want to be a part of it. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose 40 students or recent grads or young people who are just getting started within the industry and don't have those experiences. And we're going to basically do almost like a miniature internship where you're going to be talking to professionals. You're going to be asking all of the questions that you would be getting to ask if you were doing an internship. And you're going to have those connections. And at the end of it, you're going to have an amazing portfolio. We're going to do a concept pitch deck, and it's totally blue sky. We're not talking about engineering, and we're not talking about budgets and things. And it's not a competition. We're not pitting you against each other. We just want to help, and we just want you to have something after 4 weeks that you can show and say, look, I was a part of this thing over the summer, and there were these really cool people who helped me along, and I made friends along the way. And here's some neat concept art. Whether you were producing or you're a graphic designer or you're a concept artist or a creative show writer, this program is putting those studies together into like a team dynamic, so that we've got people. We're going to have 8 teams, hopefully. And we've already got a bunch of applicants, and it's been really fun looking through everyone's work. And I'm so blown away by the quality of work that everyone's got and the passion that everyone has. It's really refreshing to see. And I hope that though there's only 40 people that we can help this time, that maybe we can expand at another point. But I don't know. What do you want to add, Patrick? You're really good at wrapping up after I kind of blithered.
No, I mean, it's really an interesting time. And, just to be candid, like, I love that there's all these different things that are happening that people are doing outside of traditional associations. Me and Morgan are both a part of the TEA, and there's just a lot of stuff happening organically outside of it, which I think is really cool. Like, there's a lot of college kids and that are doing the whole theme park design, and I'm a part of helping them out. I'm helping another.
Shout out to Step.
What's that?
I said shout out to Step.
Yeah, no, exactly. So like, there's all these organic things that are happening. We both attended a networking event. We both happened to be on it on Saturday. So there's all these things that are happening.
Right, you were there. That's so weird.
Yeah, of course we're there. Of course we're there, right? So that's true. So really, it's been an interesting time, just like this show too. Like, we're just coming together once a week from 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern to get together and just talk industry, because we're all part of it, which is really fun. And what I'm going with that is that there's a lot of other projects that we can do, and this is one of them. So it's an all-star cast, like we said. Registration is already open. We're going to be closing it July 3rd. I posted it in the comment section, and basically, yes, Melody, you can please share it with your followers. Yes, please share that. I'm surprised you haven't seen it already. And you can apply right on the website. And just to note, this is open to anybody. You don't need to be going in college. You don't need to be enrolled. We just want you to be interested in joining the industry. If you have experience in an adjacent industry and you've been working for 15 years in a different industry, you're also welcome to join. What we're looking to do and what we've been really honing in on is people that are trying to enter who may have just lost their internship, may have been at Disney for 6 months and then April came along and then they got kicked out. People that are about to graduate and don't have an internship. Those people who are trying to get in the industry, haven't had that first year or so of an entry-level job. Those are the people that we're trying to help out. So anybody that's following right now, feel free to send us a message or how to get a hold of us. I'm Patrick Kling, got Andy Garfield, we got Morgan Kiensling. We're doing a lot of guerrilla cool stuff out there. So, we've had a lot of excitement in the community. You can see this is an all-star cast of people, which is super cool. And, we're going to get through this together. It's going to be a couple years, really, it's going to be a long time. And if we all keep engaged, it's just going to be fantastic. And I'll keep going live as long as there's one other person on the line, even if it's Andy. If it's just me and Andy, you
hear that, Andy? You're bottom of the barrel there to him, even if it's just Andy.
Just Andy and I talking from the mountaintops. We will be we will be doing this. And honestly, I'm looking. I have a lot of other things in the works. So, I do a bi-weekly program. So you're about to graduate college. Morgan was on that as a virtual networking event, which is fantastic. And we're going to keep kind of plugging the holes of content where we don't think that they're happening out there, because we can do anything we want. It's 2020 and we can go on LinkedIn and post a post. And the next thing you know, you got dozens of people watching something. So it's pretty cool. And yes, he is just Andy. Just Andy.
All right.
Oh,
no. Hashtag just Andy.
Oh, that's so sad.
Personally, no. I'm waiting for the competition reality show of the themed entertainment industry, like the Lego Masters of themed entertainment.
So you can design a theme park.
Yeah. You get to design a land, like you go from an ODV cart to a stage show to a dark ride to an e-ticket to a land.
Post it like, okay, designers, you have 8 minutes and 4 balls of yarn. Go.
I'm concerned about taste level.
So how do people get a hold of you? How do they follow you? Are you on any Twitters or?
I have a confession. I have literally never used Twitter in my life.
Okay.
Oh, is that my new tag?
Hold on.
Twitter in my life. I use LinkedIn a heck of a lot. So you can send me a message on there. I have an Instagram page. It's mkiesling.art. I just look up my name and Instagram and you'll find it. I'm not that active on it, but LinkedIn, absolutely. I'm happy to connect with you. And I've been sending messages to and responding to probably 50 people a day. And it's been awesome. People who are just like, who do I talk to? This is the thing I'm interested in. And I say, cool, let me connect you with this person. And then they have their first connection. And it's really exciting to get to facilitate that. So let me be that for you if you need the help. I can't get you. I'm not a job fairy. I can't just pull one out of a bag and say, here's an internship.
Yeah.
But
I'm out. You're not a job fairy. I'm out.
I'm sorry, Andy. I'm sorry. But I just want to help, and I've been involved with outreach in college students for about 5 years now, and I love it so much. I love getting to help. And those of you who know me probably know that. And you never hear the end of it. So welcome to that if you want to get to know me. So send me a note on there. My name will get you the link. I don't know what the link is. Just look up Morgan Kiesling.
And your name will get you a job.
And my what?
Your name will get you a job.
No. Oh, goodness. That would be cool, though, if I was a job ticket machine and just like, thank you.
That'd be cool.
You do post when the job opportunities come back up. I did have a friend who just got a job. So there are jobs. It's a freelance gig, but there are opportunities out there. So that's good to hear.
Yeah.
And so we'll keep doing the show, even if it's just me and all right.
Just Andy.
Just Andy.
So we have a couple of great shows that are in the works, folks. So we want to definitely talk about Splash Mountain. So we have a guest in mind who's going to talk all about refreshing attractions. Maybe
talk about animation and attractions.
Well, an animation and attract. That'd be great.
That was a missed segue opportunity somehow. I figured.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, I avoided it. Oh well.
Maybe next time, of course.
For your next one.
And then we also wanted to do a show talking about diversity and inclusion. So that'll be a real important show. We're waiting on timing for that for our guests I have in mind. So if you're just joining us for the first time, thank you for watching our show. We had a lot of people watching today, which is fantastic. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, find me on Twitter. I'm what am I? My Twitter handle, Patrick S. Kling. You can find me. I'm almost to 1,000 followers on Twitter. That's what I live for. So please.
I'm almost to 300.
You can follow Andy. Make it cool.
Help me break 300, please.
All right, I'll do that. I'll retweet. Can you do a post of like, hey, you should follow me if you like da-da-da-da-da, and I'll retweet you, and you'll get dozens of followers.
Do you like ducks? Do you like adorable, tender ducks? And you could just find duck people. I'm sure that there's probably however many duck people. Or like corgi people.
Yeah. So Melody, I've only known Morgane for like a week and a half, and I feel like I've known her my whole life. So you definitely need to meet Melody. I'll send an intro email. I'll send an intro email after this meeting. But
cool.
that's how we do things here, folks. We just wheel and deal.
Making connections.
Job fairy. Yeah.
No job fairy. Don't. No. It's not. I don't have a knapsack filled with jobs.
I definitely agree. Yeah, we got to figure out next. Maybe if we do one in person, we can have a crew follow us around and just yelling at each other. So, folks, we are going to end the show, but I want to end the show by watching the intro because it was so good. Can you give a shout out to the person who did the graphics, please, just so they can get one more final shout out?
The person who did the graphics was me. Yep. So shout out to myself. The person who did the audio, the voiceover, is my friend Brock Powell. Thank you so much. He saw the graphic I posted this morning and was like, "Stop what you're doing. Send me a script. I'm gonna record it," which was so cool. So I just laid it over in a video program and put a little flash on it, and it's amazing. He did such a good job.
All right. Well, Morgane, can you go ahead and stay on? Don't leave, but we are going to end the show. Okay.
All right.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Calling all adventurers! Welcome to the Untitled Themed Entertainment Design Show, where your sensational hosts, Andy Garfield and Patrick Kling, provide you with endless hours of fun and knowledge on all things related to themed entertainment. Tonight, some know her as an artiste, some know her as director, but now she's here to talk about the world of animation and theme park design in her debut broadcast. Welcome, Morgane Kiesling! So sit back in your chair, fasten your seatbelts, and tug on the yellow safety strap before we discuss theme park design, animation, and you!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the
I love that music. It's so